we don't know how the new board is going to behave, but I think we can generally say that this is a tailor-made board of hand-picked people that are beholden to Elon Musk, and it in no way resembles a normal public company board. These are not people who will supervise Elon. There's no adult supervision, because when you have independent directors that really come from outside and are not personal friends or relatives of the CEO, you have a degree of supervision and shareholder accountability for the CEO's actions. And that has been notably absent at Tesla. And when you look at the composition of the new reduced board, there are still a lot of people in it that are very close to Elon Musk. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just an unusual thing in a public company where you usually have outside directors who hold the CEO accountable and will criticize him. And I don't, if you look at Elon Musk's behavior vis-a-vis the SEC and other activities, you have to tell yourself there is no board that tells him, that gets him in and says, Elon, stop this, or stop this stuff, or we're going to have to remove you.
Bob, let me switch gears and talk a little bit about the new NAFTA and what it means for the auto industry. We've got Kevin Hassett from the CEA who's going to be joining us in a little bit. There have been some different takes on how important this is, how many jobs it will create, how much it will mean for the U.S. economy overall. But what can you tell us? What do you think it means for Detroit?
Well, look, I think much of it is factored in. And when the automobile industry has been notably reluctant to criticize the new agreement, and basically it just has content rules where certain percentages of a NAFTA built vehicle, or what the new trade agreement is called, a certain content has to be from so-called high-wage countries, which means Mexico and Canada. And I'm sure
that means U.S. and Canada, right?
I'm sorry. Yes, I misspoke. U.S. and Canada. So I think that it probably doesn't change it that much. It will probably increase costs somewhat. But when you think about it, labor cost is a relatively small component of total vehicle cost. A lot of the total cost of objects, whether they're purchased in Mexico or in the United States, are fixed costs and so forth. So I think there'll be some hand-wringing, there'll be some additional costs, but it's no different from additional costs that's caused by additional government regulation, which can go into the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and nobody worries about that. But here, I think it's much ado about nothing. I think the car industry is happy to have firm rules. They're happy to still have the alliance of the regional alliance of the three countries, and they're happy to be able to plan their sourcing with a degree of certainty now. If you look at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just wonder. I mean, there are some critics in Congress, and I just wonder what happens if this new NAFTA doesn't get passed. What would that mean for Detroit?
That would be the worst possible outcome, because then we would have continued uncertainty, and you can't resource assembly plants and major components overnight. And let's not forget, 70% of a car by any automobile company, 70% of the car is purchased stuff, and you can't just change suppliers overnight. So you have to make your sourcing decisions a year or 2 or 3 years in advance. And in the absence of knowledge what the trade arrangements are going to be, it becomes incredibly difficult. And as I say, what the automobile industry hates worst is uncertainty and the absence of firm parameters.